What's up, everyone? Today's video we are drawing some of the Marvel ladies. The other drawing video focused on the men, so it's only fair to draw some of the ladies. And starting off with Rogue from the X-Men, I thought she would be a good opposite one to draw to go with Wolverine. Although there are plenty of other ladies that would go well also. But I do like Rogue. Which is your favorite X-Men character? Especially, which is your favorite female character? The program I'm using is Photoshop, a program that I've pretty much learned to use throughout my college experience. And that's all I have really practiced with. I really don't use any Apple products, so that's why I don't have any knowledge of using Procreate. And I know there's some other, I guess, free apps out there, but I guess you could say I've grown up with Photoshop and that's what I'm comfortable with using. But yeah, just to continue on, I was out of commission for a while and figured I'd just do some somewhat quick drawings digitally to try to get back into it. And looks like I'm just doing a little bit of a series, but I pretty much I'm going to take a break after the last drawing in this video, which you'll see. But here we're finishing up Rogue. And since I drew the Thing, sticking with a Fantastic Four theme, I thought I would draw the Invisible Woman, Sue Richards or Sue Storm. You know, if you didn't know, she and Reed Richards did get married. It was in the second Fantastic Four movie, but they have been married for quite a while in the comics. Are you guys looking forward to the new Fantastic Four movie? The one with Pedro Pascal. I am looking forward to it. I don't know, kind of wish Pedro Pascal would have shaved his mustache, but whatever. The Thing in this movie looks pretty awesome. Almost like what he looks like in the comics. Now, the idea for drawing Sue Storm or Sue Richards or the Invisible Woman, I wanted half of her to be invisible, like she's using her power and it's just, you catch that split nanosecond where part of her is already invisible, the other part hasn't changed yet. Well, during the drawing part, I thought I would add some different value in it, but you'll see later on towards the end I kind of changed my mind about that. I thought she would look better just without all the shading. Let me know what you think. Next up, the only person I could think of that would go good opposite of Hulk would be She-Hulk, his cousin. Decided to change the hair instead of very wavy and curly to more straight. Also, I decided to, I don't remember if it's, oh yeah, it's already, I already did it. Brought her head down. I thought it was a little too high. Now just adding some of the darks in her hair and starting adding the flats before I start going in and adding some values, which I'm doing now. Um, I usually like to add the highlights mostly around parts of the hair that somewhat bend. And I pretty much learned that from watching some of Frank Cho's drawing videos, and that totally made sense. So, I incorporated that and giving her some little strands of free hair with a purple background or magenta. I thought that went well. And for Spider-Man, I decided to draw Spider-Woman, the original Jessica Drew. I was thinking either the Ghost Spider or a couple others, but I decided to go with Jessica Drew's portrayal of Spider-Woman. She was fun to draw, and just now adding the flat colors in before I start adding value, and again, like with She-Hulk, just adding the darks of her hair. Pretty much when I'm doing that, adding the darks, I use the lasso tool, kind of select the area that I want dark, and I just fill it in. But going in and adding some of the different values. Here I also kind of decided to add a web for her background, but also decided to give a little bit of a glow to kind of go with her little special ability, and which I added there on her index finger. And I couldn't decide who to do an opposite of for Deadpool. Asked some friends, and they all gave me different ideas. So first off, I decided on my own to go with Gwenpool. And she was kind of fun to draw. And as you can see, I kind of have her somewhat breaking the comic panel and taking a selfie. I changed the position of her head. Didn't quite like how I originally had it. And since I have an Android type phone, that's the kind of phone that I gave her. Are you a fan of Gwenpool? If so, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I thought she was fun to draw. And usually when I'm adding the flats, I use multiple layers. So on the drawing layer, I'll select the area, and then I will expand the selection area, usually about either 4 or 6 pixels. And then with the paint bucket, fill it in a different layer. And then when I'm adding the values, the color value layer, that's when I just start adding the lights and darks. That's pretty much how I add my colors and how I do my drawings. Another friend of mine suggested Shiklah. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I really don't know a lot about this character. I think she's like a succubus or one of the queens of the undead. She was married for a while, I guess, to Wade Wilson maybe, or she's also was or currently is married to Marvel's Dracula. But she was interesting to draw. I try to draw her from a different perspective, like she was kind of somewhat looking down at you and beckoning you to come to her. Her necklaces, I just did it with the gold line with no outline. And with the gems inside, I kind of just drew a crimson round shape, and I'll add the different values in there. And now I'm doing the highlights of the hair. I kind of just wanted to do some parts of the hair, not everywhere, because I was trying to do a somewhat dark background, so there shouldn't be a whole lot of light going on. But she was fun to draw. And I wanted to be a surprise towards the end, which you'll probably see barely coming up towards the end of this little video, that I did add her pet. There it was. And for the final female that was also suggested, drawing Domino. And she was in New Mutants 98. I think that was also her first appearance, which is also the first appearance of Deadpool. And I do have that comic. I should probably get that graded. But yeah, it was a couple issues before it went from New Mutants to X-Force. And I'm not exactly sure of Domino's power. I don't know if it's also luck. That's what was portrayed in Deadpool 2. So I don't know if she's like a female version of Longshot. If you know what Domino's power is, again, let me know in the comments down below. But she was fun to draw. I decided to give her blaster type weapons instead of the regular modern pew-pews that I have seen her drawn with. But some of the first times you see Domino and Cable, their weapons are more futuristic looking, so I wanted to somewhat keep up with that. And overall, she's a very monochromed character, except for her blue eyes, and I wanted to add a little more color. That's why you see the orange in the weapons and a little bit of a greenish type gray around her wrists and her belt and ammo pack. But I did enjoy drawing Domino. She was fun. Actually, I just do enjoy drawing a lot of the Marvel characters. But here, adding the greenish gray to her wrists and her strap brought behind her back and the ammo box. Now I decided to add some of the darker values in her jacket. I also changed her shoulder to more of a shoulder pad or pauldron and gave it a little bit of weathering. I could have probably gone darker with her back, but I wanted to keep some of these drawings relatively quick. I do like how her background turned out and some of the texture using a cloud brush and a watercolor brush. But pretty much that's going to do it for the drawing video. At the end, you'll see pictures of all the female characters that I drew. If you enjoy the video, give it a like. Simo says, be awesome to one another and get to creating.